Hello, my friends. I honestly can't believe that there's about a week left of this year, which I don't think I'm alone in saying this, but it is mind blowing. But I am not complaining. I cannot wait for this year to be over. But I thought the least that I can do is squeeze in one more of your favorite videos before the year ends, which is going to be an Hermes slash luxury Q&A. Now, obviously, as the name suggests, these are the videos where I try to address all your Hermes questions and dilemmas. But since it is one of the last videos of the year, I figured we should make it a little bit more spicy. So today we're of course going to be touching on some of your amazing Hermes questions, but we're also going to be discussing some Hermes topics that you and I are both perplexed by, and I'm not exactly sure if anyone knows the exact answers to these questions, but I try my best to share my experience and my educated guess when it comes to these Hermes mysteries. So without further ado, if you'd like to chat about everything Hermes, including some of our favorite Hermes bags, some understated and underrated Hermes bags that don't get enough love and attention, my pro shopping tips, and how to care for your Hermes bags at home, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. I am just quickly going through your questions, and as always, I have no idea where to start, so I'm just going to start picking random questions as always, but just know that if you would like to participate in future Q&As, then make sure to follow me on Instagram, because that's where I usually ask you guys for your questions and what videos you'd like to see from me. So let's get to the first page and start from here. So what I have been wondering is what your personal grooming choices are, what products you use, etc. So I do have a dedicated video on my skincare routine and what products I use on my face. So if you would like to see that, make sure to have it linked up here, which goes through my entire skincare routine, including every single step and my ethos when it comes to skincare. So that's what I stick to. That has not changed. The products that I use currently, they're again pretty much the same things or similar things that I shared in that video of mine, but what I could do, I'm trying to think what I'm using currently, but I can't remember. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but if you're interested, I can make sure to have my exact skincare steps that I used this morning linked down below for you. So you can just go down into my info box and look at the specific products and see if any one of those would suit you. But I do have extremely sensitive and dry skin, and if you do too, then you know that those products will be right up your alley. And grooming choices, I guess it's not just skincare, but hair. When it comes to hair, I think I use two products from Kevin Murphy. I use his beach spray, and then I use like a little pomade that I get from Cold Beauty usually, just because that's the brand that my hairdresser uses. Thoughts on the Geta bag, which is a relatively new launch from Hermes. It's a bag that I haven't actually tried for myself. I have seen it a few times in person. I saw it in Copenhagen, I saw it at the airport, and then my own boutique had, I think, a couple of them on display, and I might have also seen some of them in a window, but I never felt kind of drawn to this bag. I don't know why that is exactly. Perhaps it's because of the shape, but if you don't know anything about the Geta bag, it is a relatively new launch from Hermes, and it's almost like a modern take on a camera bag. The name as well as the inspiration comes from traditional Japanese wooden slippers that have this really unique, they don't have an H shape to them, but Hermes interpreted the shape as an H. So it's a bag that has this really unique elongated H closure that is not only the closure mechanism on the bag, but it also functions as the feet on the bag and that little contraption that you use to adjust the length of the strap. So one of the pros of this bag is the fact that it has an adjustable, thicker, wider canvas strap. The H is a little bit more muted and subtle because it is more embedded in the bag. It's not only more elongated and subtle that way, but it also has a leather inlay. So the hardware is almost, well, it is the same leather and it is the same color as the bag itself. It does have a really thin metal frame to it, so you do have to keep that in mind, but it's definitely a lot more under the radar than something like a Constance bag would be. So I do love this bag for those reasons. I love the shape, Personally, I'm not a big fan of a camera bag, but if you are, this is definitely something that you'll very much enjoy. The one thing that perhaps is putting me off of this bag is how wide the shoulder strap is. It's always reminded me since the first time I saw this bag of a seat belt. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because it's adjustable, because it's made of canvas, because of how wide it is. But to me, it isn't the most elevated bag, which it's not trying to be. This promises to be an everyday casual throw-on bag. So if that's what you're looking for, I think you'll very much enjoy this bag. I have no doubt that the craftsmanship, the leather, the colors are just going to be top notch. I mean, that's something that we usually don't have to doubt when it comes to Hermes or question, because that's given. But personally, it just isn't my most favorite design. And now, if I was gifted this bag, I definitely would not return it. I wouldn't throw it in the person's face. I mean, it doesn't matter. They could buy me a bar of chocolate. I would be grateful for that, just as grateful as I would be for an Hermes bag. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not my least favorite Hermes bag that I've ever seen, but it's definitely not something that I would go out of my way to get my hands on. Best crossbody Hermes bag to run errands. Great question. Well, speaking of the Geta bag, that's definitely something that you could look into. That is meant to be, the Geta bag was meant to be a crossbody bag because of the strap. It is incredibly understated, so that's definitely something that you could look into. I would argue that the Constance, if you're looking for something a little bit more elegant, could also make a great everyday bag. I personally don't find the Constance to be too precious. It obviously depends on the leather and what your personal style is, but I could definitely see myself using the Constance on a daily basis. In fact, I have done that in the past. So the Constance would make an amazing everyday bag if you're looking for something just a little bit more on the formal side, but it's definitely a bag that you can dress up or dress down, and it all depends on the finish of the leather that you pick it up in. The Jypsiere is definitely a bag that I have been slowly but surely getting into. It's a bag that you would probably have a hard time finding directly at Hermes, just because it's not a bag that they're currently producing a lot of. But that might change, because the mini Jypsiere should be dropping any day now, and when that happens, I assume they'll slowly start reintroducing some of the larger Jypsieres as well. It's a bag that has a lot going on. I mean, it has a flap, it has so much hardware. It not only has the HAC mechanism, the HAC little shelves that the sangos sit on, but it also has these two hooks that you use to attach the thick white strap to, which also happen to sit on the front of the bag. I mean, this is definitely not an understated bag, but it's also something that would add quite a bit of interest to an outfit. I mean, anytime I see this bag, I'm always shocked by how much it actually adds to an outfit. So if you're looking for something a little bit more full-bodied and a little bit more heavy, not only in terms of actual weight, but in terms of how much it adds to an outfit, the Jypsiere is a great one to look into, and hopefully soon you will also be able to pick it up in a mini size. So I would definitely look at some of these bags. What is the one untapped Hermes market you would like to see? For example, Hermes automobiles, etc. Great question, but Hermes have actually done cars. They've also done private jets in their so-called Horizon projects. So those are all things that they've done in the past. I mean, most things, there really isn't much that Hermes hasn't done. If you know Hermes, you know that they have experimented with most things, and I don't know about you guys, but personally, I could not care less about cars. And if there are any car fans in the audience, please let us know in the comment section what your favorite cars are. But one thing that I would like to see from them is glasses. I think that they would create some beautiful glasses and sunglasses, which I have actually talked about before. I think I had a conversation about this at one point with an Hermes store director, and what they explained to me, which makes a lot of sense, is that Hermes tries to keep everything in-house just so they have full control over the quality, because if they create things in-house, it might take them a little bit longer to produce things, but they have full control over every single step of the creation process, so they can make sure that they not only use the most incredible raw materials, but the way the pieces are put together and the end results are all just perfection. And obviously it would be a huge investment for them to purchase and acquire a manufacturing facility that is able to produce glasses. Now, Things obviously are changing because they have just recently launched a makeup line. Well, actually not even that recently. And those, I doubt that they acquired a makeup manufacturing lab. I'm sure they had to outsource. So perhaps the next thing that they could move on to doing, if they continue down this path of outsourcing things, is maybe coming out with glasses and sunglasses. That's definitely something that I would love to see from them, and I think a lot of people would too. Best and worst purchase of this year. Since we are talking about Hermes, we could talk about my best and worst Hermes purchases of the year. And then I'll definitely do just kind of an overarching best and worst purchases of 2022 in the new year. But great question, thank you. So the worst purchase from Hermes this year, I think, was my mini Evelyn. I think it is a great bag, but I really don't understand the hype. It's definitely not as unique or as outstanding as most people make it seem like. And yes, I use it quite a lot. It's just not something that I continued using after I reviewed it. Whenever I buy something new, you guys know I like to unbox it, then go away, use it on my own, and then come back to you with an in-depth review, which is something that I did. I used it consistently for a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months before I reviewed it for you guys. But then I never reached for it again, and I think there's a reason for it. So the mini Evelyn for me is just not something that I really took advantage of. It might be one of my least used Hermes bags, which I know is shocking because it's usually the exact opposite for most people, at least people who own the mini Evelyn. The mini Evelyn is usually their most used bag, but for me that has not been the case. And then my best purchase from Hermes this year, that would be a tough one. My best purchase, I don't really know if I bought anything that incredible. I mean, I love everything that I bought, otherwise I would have not bought them. But what has been my best purchase? Well, my best purchase so far this year, because I'm not sure if I'm going to make any more purchases, my best purchase, I would say, was my Hermes cashmere with the H embroidered all over it. That is definitely one of my most used Hermes purchases of the year. And then the baby's color, which I bought earlier in the year, is something that I have been loving just because it makes him look so incredibly handsome. So I would say that those two pieces are the ones that have brought me the most joy this year. So we have a lot of questions. Again, this is something that always comes up, and as always, I'm happy to answer any one of your questions. But we have a lot of questions on shopping at Hermes. How often would I recommend that you go to Hermes? Which Hermes would I recommend that you go to if you have several different Hermes boutiques in your area? Which, I just have to say this, don't overthink it. Go to Hermes as often as you go to any other boutique. Whenever you go shopping to Chanel, Cartier, go to Hermes when you would go to any other brand. Don't overthink it, don't over mystify it, because I think in the end it will just feel like a burden if you make yourself go to Hermes every week or every other week or once a month. It won't feel as enjoyable as it could. I would say that go to Hermes as often as you have something to pick up. Go to Hermes whenever you have something new to see, whenever you want to ask for something, whenever you are in the mood to go for a browse. And it did come up in the questions if you should go to Hermes just to browse. 1000%. If you want to see something, stop by, look at it, ask for help, ask for the person's advice that you shop with, because let's be honest, they are the true experts on the brand. And just make it as fun as possible. Don't overthink it. Don't go and try to have a schedule of how often you go, because if you have nothing to buy, if you have nothing to look at, you're just wasting your own time and the person's time that you are shopping with, even though I'm sure that they're going to be happy to help you and have a conversation with you. If you're not having fun, what's the whole point? So I would say, let me see what other questions there were. How to shop. Am I supposed to seek help or wait to be helped? Well, it depends. If it's your first time going to Hermes, you are obviously going to meet someone who's going to help you out. And if you hit it off and if you feel like that you're a great match, you can continue shopping with them. And I would recommend reaching out to them, either texting them or emailing them before the next time you go, just to see if you can set up an appointment. Usually December can be a tough time to get an appointment. Most Hermes boutiques will not set up an appointment in December, but going into the new year, I would just say that whenever you go, you can send them an email or send them a text asking them what days they're going to be working. If there's anything specific that you're looking for, you can always ask if they have that piece in stock. Maybe have a browse on the website to see if there's anything that you want to see in person. You could ask them to have it transferred for you, or to see if they have it and if they could hold it for you, so you know kind of what to expect when you're going into the boutique. But if you would like to build a long-term relationship with Hermes, I would highly suggest finding someone that you click with. And the only way for you to do it is to go to your local boutique and go for a browse and see if you meet someone there who you feel like that you're on the same page with. Because if you are trying to build a long-term relationship with the brand, it's always better to shop with someone that understands you, that has a similar taste, and who's interested in working with you. So I think when it comes to Hermes, it is obviously a family-owned brand. So for them, family values to this day are extremely important. Not as important as they used to be, but it's still something that I think will make a big difference when it comes to your overall Hermes experience. But my pro tip for you is not to overthink it. Don't have a strict schedule on how often you go to Hermes. Go whenever you go to any other boutiques, whenever you have something to pick up, whenever you're in the mood to see what's new from them, or if there's something specific that you saw on social media, that you saw in someone's pictures, or something that you saw online. Those are the best times to go to Hermes, when you have something fun to look forward to. If you could only buy one more Hermes bag, what would it be? Great question. If I could only buy one more Hermes bag, well, if I could only buy one Hermes bag, I know it's a different question, but if I could only buy one Hermes bag, no question, it would be a Her bag. The Her bag is by far my most used and most loved Hermes bag. I think it is so insanely underrated. And even though I do have an in-depth video on the Her bag, kind of a really deep dive review on that particular piece, that video is quite old. I think it was one of the first videos that I filmed after moving, so I do want to do an updated review on the Her bag in the new year. So if you have any questions about the Her bag, if there's anything that you've been dying to know, or anything that is stopping you from buying that bag, would you mind letting me know in the comment section, just so I can make sure that I touch on all those points in that updated review of mine. But stay tuned, that video is definitely coming your way really soon. But if I could buy one more bag, because obviously I do already have my Her bag 39, would I buy a Her bag 31? I don't think I would, because I owned the Her bag 31 in the past and it didn't work for me. The proportions, the size, I for myself personally prefer the 39, but if you're more petite than I am, if you're shorter than me, the 31 might suit you best. If I could only buy one more, it's such a tough one. I think I would either buy